So there's all kinds of great ways to make a steak, but sometimes the weather doesn't cooperate, and sometimes, well, maybe you're in a condo and you just can't do it. So at Instant, we're going to give you that great taste of a steak, winter, spring, summer, fall, 365 days a year, and I'm going to walk you right through it. First thing that we want to do is preheat our oven. So let's go ahead. I'm going to hit that air fry, and I'm going to crank this up. I want this at 400 degrees, and we're going to hit start. While this is preheating, this is a great time to get your steak ready. So first of all, you want to make sure, by the way, look at these things. Are you kidding me with this? That's a giant steak, man. That's like crazy thick. Look at that thing. So one of the very first things you can do, especially with a big thick steak like this, is to make sure that you let this get to room temperature. That's going to take about an hour for most steaks. And that's going to make sure that when you cook this, it's going to cook nice and evenly, and you're going to get that red color all the way through. So the first thing we want to do is hit these both with just a little bit of olive oil on top. What that's going to do is that's going to grab the spices that we're going to put on here. Now, when we go to talk about spices, I mean, this is a great piece of meat, you guys. There's nothing really that you have to do with this beyond salt, pepper, garlic. I've always said that. You don't have to load this thing up with all kinds of weird stuff and spices that you find at the store. Salt, pepper, garlic is all you need. Now, this is a big chunk of meat, so go ahead, be liberal in it. This can take it, no troubles at all. There we go. Now, let's go ahead and flip it over, and we're going to do the exact same thing. The whole idea of spicing up your steak is to help you create that incredible crust. You know the crust. The reason they bring you a steak knife at those 5-star restaurants, you want to cut through it. That's what we're going to get out of this. I love it. So let's put this aside and get our side dish ready. Because of the way this is designed with the top-down heat and the perforated pans, we're going to be able to do some multi-level cooking that you can't do with any other air fryer. You know what I'm talking about. You get that drawer that you pull out. Whatever fits on the bottom is all you're going to cook. It doesn't matter how much space you have above it. With our design, you can utilize the whole 10 quarts. That's going to be something you're really going to appreciate later. So here's what we're going to do. Got some nice, big, fat, no-nonsense asparagus. We're going to take the tips off. That's where the bitterness is, so we want to get rid of that. We'll just set that to the side. Whoop. Just about lost one. Let's pop those in there, and then these are always good if you take a little bit of oil, just like that. Now you can use garlic-infused oil is terrific with this. Try that one of these times if you want. And then a little bit of Parmesan cheese. What that's going to do, just like it would on my grill outside, it's going to go ahead and it's going to kind of caramelize, and it's going to crisp up, and it's going to get that really beautiful brown flavor with that bright green underneath. All right, let me wash my hands. The Instant Vortex oven doesn't really care what the weather's doing outside, and it doesn't care how much space you have or how far above the first floor you live. If you want that great taste of grilled food, we're going to do that for you. And this is just one of the 7 functions built in for the Instant Vortex oven. I think you're going to love this. So this is very cool. Our oven is telling us it's time to add our food. How perfect is that? So now, we've got 2 pretty different foods here. We've got a really thick steak, and we've got our side dish. So I don't expect these to cook at the exact same time. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and we're going to load these steaks up on our tray. Remember, that's perforated, so the air is going to be able to circulate all around that steak, which is really cool. So let's go ahead, pop that open, and I'm going to put our steak on the middle rack. So now we're humming along at 400 degrees. I'm going to go ahead and set our time to 13 minutes because these are big, thick steaks. Normally, I like to say we could do a steak in about 8 or 9 minutes, but these are off the charts. I don't know what's going on with these. So we're going to let these get going, and this is actually going to tell us when it's time to turn the food. And what we're going to do is when it comes time to turn the steak over, we're going to add the asparagus underneath, let everything cook at the same time, and then dinner's ready and perfect all at the same time. So now, how cool is this? You can see it tells you it's time to turn the food. So if you're new to cooking and this whole thing's a new experience to you, you're going to love the fact that the Instant Vortex oven literally takes you by the hand and walks you through the cooking process, no matter what you're cooking, when to put it in, when to turn it, the whole 9 yards. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and flip these steaks, and you can already see they've got that fantastic crust on them. Let me turn those over. Oh, these are going to be something else. Going to go ahead and pop that back in. And now's the time when I want to pop my asparagus in, and it's going to go right in the rack below. And as soon as I close the door, it picks up exactly where it left off. It's going to finish this off. We're going to let it rest. I'll let it rest. And man, these are going to be something else. So in the last minute of cooking, I like to do something kind of special as the steak rests. Watch what I'm going to do. If you're like me, you like your asparagus, any kind of veggies, like especially if you're going for that grill experience, to have that little bit of a char, that little bit of a crisp, maybe if you're lucky, right? So let's go ahead and pull the asparagus out from the bottom, and we're just going to do a little switcheroo and put it over top of the steaks for the last minute. And that's going to give you that char, that little crisp, that color that you love when you see it come off the grill. But you never have to worry about weather. And just like that, it's done. Less than 20 minutes, including preheat time, and we have two gorgeous, monstrous, crusty, bubbly steaks. Oh my goodness, would you just look at those? Oh man. Now, you could cut into these right away if you wanted, but I got to tell you something. You should let these rest at least 10 minutes. And there we have it. Two giant, 2-inch thick New York strip steaks done perfectly in the Instant Vortex oven with our side dish at the same time. Those beautiful, crispy, charred asparagus with that lovely cheese. And oh my goodness, this is just going to be fantastic. Now, I think we've waited long enough. Let's cut into that steak. Oh my goodness. Follow us for more great recipes with the Instant Vortex oven and more. See you next time.